Hello, YouTube. John McConnell here. This video is going to be put on my website, but I figured I'd make it useful as an explanation for sale by owners. I'm going to talk about the California Association of Realtor Forms, and then I'm going to let you know that there is a company called First Tuesday Forms, and you can get those. You can get those without being a realtor. They're free. I have training, $10 training right now. It's going to go up in time. This is April. Right now it's $10. As I get more people in there, it's going to go to $47, and then more when I get live training in there. But for now, I'll train people on the forms that they can use if they're going for sale by owner, if they're trying to avoid using the realtor forms. However, I know, having been a for sale by owner myself, you're probably going to want to eliminate as many buyer objections as possible. And California Association of Realtor Forms drive I don't know of any transactions they don't drive except for the really high end, where sometimes people sell properties and they're 1, 2, or 3 pages. They don't want to give the buyers out. They frequently already know each other. It's a lot of money. It's a one-of-a-kind property, and that's the way it is. But everybody else uses car forms. So how do you get them? Well, California Association of Realtors are very vigilant about not allowing us to give out those forms anymore. Like we can't leave them blank and then print them out. Now, we could probably print them out, scratch them out, photocopy them, give them out. But I would be concerned that if you did that, California Association of Realtors would say that you've broken their terms of use agreements. And so not many realtors do. Whether that's true or not, I don't know if they would succeed, but they make it very hard to get the forms. So I've put together a program that I'm putting in my course in which it's going to be 2 consultations and then follow-up. So the first consultation, I would work with a for sale by owner anywhere in the country. We'll have a consultation over Skype or at phone or the phone. And I'll talk to you. Well, it'll be actually, first I'll send you the disclosures too, because we might as well get it all done. So send you the disclosures. I'll say you should fill these out ahead of time and then talk to me on the phone, or maybe send them back. I'll review them, then we'll talk. So then I talk to you about the terms of the contract that we should fill out and create a sample contract so you could show this to the buyers and say, hey, it's negotiable, but these are the main terms. This is how we filled it in. You're welcome to change them, but this is a sample contract we'd be interested in, and you can fill in the price. 2, here are my disclosures. I would also include, I would have the property repaired, and then I'd have it pre-repaired and say we did these things and the other things like the grading against the house. It hardly ever rains here or whatever, so we didn't bother doing that. But do an explanation of what you've done and what you haven't had pre-inspected. I would eliminate as many buyer objections as possible, and I would have the contract filled out, the forms filled out, and my disclosures. And when you go over that with me, you may have disclosure questions. We'll get them done. I will, you can fill them out by hand, or we'll talk about it, but I can take your forms, type them out, and then you could sign them. I think it's better I give them to you, you fill them out, you sign them. That's what I usually do with my realtor clients when I'm selling a home. But we can work all that out. But that's what we do. We set up the first consultation. We address those things. We get it prepared. And then you have like a package ready for when you're going to have your big open weekend or your for sale by owner. I hope my other training, I've already convinced you that it's better to try to pack everybody in there into a weekend than have one showing at a time spread out over time. I mean, you're not creating scarcity. You're really putting the buyers in charge that way. Now, you can do that, but I'd much prefer big open house weekends or even auction weekends. We talk about that in the course for multiple offer situations. You want to develop those. Now, the second thing is, I know from when I was a FSBO myself, it can be important to eliminate buyer objections, and many buyers don't feel comfortable with disclosures and the process. So I set up a second consultation for where you and the buyer, it's set up this way. You and the buyer will work together on the terms on that Monday or Sunday night, and then set up a 50-minute consult with me where you'll go over the terms. If the buyer has any questions about the terms, whether it's as is or the like you can tell them about the inspection, but don't take my word for it. You have 17 days to bring your inspector out here. And if you're not happy or we can't fix it and make you happy, you can back out. If you don't get financing, you can back out. So we can eliminate together through education a lot of buyers' objections. Now, they may still have some questions that are fair game. I will tell them that I'm not representing you, or I'm not representing the buyer in this negotiation, so I don't have all the information. But that if there are questions about the process, I can answer them. If they're about pricing, I'm going to say that's not my deal. That's between the two of you. But the idea is that I can help them with the process. I can say, look, I'm going to get these forms ready. Then we'll get them over to escrow. I'll get them ready, and I have a software where you can sign them and everyone can review them. And then I can let escrow into the process, and they can see, then download the forms. The buyer's lender can do the same. It's possible that if there are other small forms once in a while, they could send them in, and I don't mind spending a little bit of time getting them set up and put together. But I'm not going to be coaching the realtor on the sufficiency of the seller's disclosures, although I would counsel sellers make full disclosure, because if you do, if you disclose all your material concerns, all the potential defects, you disclose everything you know, all the material things, then when the process closes, you should be immune from losing a lawsuit. If you hide things, then that's what can be successful lawsuits. I'll go into more detail, but that's really it. You should disclose anything that is material. Material sort of defined as things that would affect the value of the home. That's a very short version. When we're doing our disclosures, I get more into detail. So it's better to disclose than worry about being sued later. But the whole point is, in this process, there's 2 hours of time, plus I'll be drafting up forms and contracts. I will be there to answer questions about the process. And there is a buyer module that is part of some of the options you have. So I will definitely include that buyer module and the training in the buyer module as part of this multiple offer training. So as part of this done with you contracts, disclosures, and the buyer and the training. So we'll put a buyer module together, and we have questions answered about the process in 2 hours of time. Plus I'll be helping you draft and put the contracts together. So there'll probably be 4 hours, 5 hours of my time involved in this process. And if you've got some questions, I'm not going to limit all your questions just to the hour. Like, I'm not going to do 3 hours worth of questions with you. But if you, the seller, have questions about the process, instead of just going through the group training, I'll also answer your questions as best I can. So really, I'm not only helping you with the confidence, knowing you can do the disclosures, get the forms done, get this done using car forms. That's worth hundreds of dollars on its own, I believe, at least in terms of buyer confidence. It's probably worth thousands of dollars in terms of buyer's confidence, because they'll be working with the normal forms. They can have their own lawyer look at them for a few $100. And someone's going to say, well, why are they using these forms? So I think it's a really good opportunity for you to, I think between the confidence and getting it done and the buyer confidence, this course should more than pay for it 99% of the time. All right, so that's a little bit about it. If you do sign up, the minute you do, you'll have access to my a link to my calendar and Calendly, and you can pick a time in my calendar. Now, if none of those times work for you, pick one that's pretty far out and send me an email to john@winnerscheck.org. I realize this is winnerscheck.net, but my email is winnerscheck.org. Send me that email, and I will say you pick 3 times that are good for you. And I will look at them, and if one's good for me, I'll let you know, hey, let's go. That's when we're doing it. If not, I'll tell you when I have some availability, and we'll try to get together like that. If not, well, you want to get this work done. You wouldn't want to just set it up right away. You'd want to set it out a little bit so you can get the disclosures, which I'll put the blank forms in this module within a day of you signing up, and you'll go over those, prepare them, see what your questions are. You'll look at the contract too, and then we'll move on from there. I'll put those things. I'll send them to you as soon as you sign up, or I'll put them in the module, and we'll move forward from there. I really look forward to working with you. I've been doing a lot of work today, so I was a little lower energy. It is the evening, and I don't think that I'm going to have low energy while we're doing this. We're going to help you sell your house for top dollar. We're going to help the buyer get your home in a tough market at a price that they don't mind paying. And we'll get those contracts done. We'll get that transaction wrapped up for you. All right. Thanks, John McConnon. Winnerscheck.net. Thank you.